Embakasi East MP Babu Owino is expected to appear in court this morning on allegations of assault. The MP was arrested on Friday and spent 2 nights in custody at the Parklands police station after being accused of assaulting a parking attendant in Westlands. Owino was released yesterday following intervention by Nairobi Senator Johnson Sakaja. And as Jackie Maribe reports, the MP believes his political opponents were behind his arrest.
The Embakasi East MP finally walked to freedom following his dramatic arrest on Friday outside Parliament buildings that would see him spend 2 nights in police custody. And after failed attempts by opposition leaders Raila Odinga and Moses Wetangula Saturday to secure his release, pressure continued to mount today to have the lawmaker out of Parklands police station. Nairobi Senator Sakaja Johnson managing to secure his release this afternoon after talks with the police officers for close to 1 hour.
We would leave politics to politicians. The criminal justice system is such that he would have just been invited even on a Monday or Tuesday. The alleged offences that is being alleged to have committed are offences that he can be taken to court and tried. And if found guilty, then, the law should follow its course.
Wacha mimi nitakaa naye kama captain wa Embakasi, nitamtuliza yeye kidogo, lakini msimchokose. Mkiweka petroli kwa fire atawaka.
Babu was arrested on allegations that he, alongside his personal guard, assaulted a parking attendant at Fortis Plaza in Westlands, Nairobi on the morning of 11th January at a few minutes to 2 a.m. However, Babu, through his advocate Anthony Olwoch, claims his arrest is an attempt to paint him in bad light to influence the outcome of an election petition filed against him by his Jubilee opponent Francis Muredi.
So we are saying that whoever is trying to use the criminal justice system to score whichever goals should stop.
There was supposed to be scrutiny and validation of ballot papers in this weekend. So when Babu is inside there, you don't know what was happening outside.
The idea here or the narrative is to try and paint him as a violent person and to try to influence the minds of the judge.
They were looking for the how to make the seals to go and interfere with the ballot papers because they applied for scrutiny. I'm not scared of elections. Humbly requesting the police, please. I was not selected. I was an elected member of parliament. Have some minimal respect for me.
Babu, who had several run-ins with the law in 2017 over allegations of disrespecting the presidency, is expected to appear in court Monday morning.
Let's take a look at how the papers covered that story. On page 9 of the Daily Nation, page 8 of the Daily Nation, Babu freed from cells as Sakaja condemns arrest. That's on the page 8 of the Daily Nation. On the Standard, that story appears on page 21. Babu released from police custody after 2 nights. Well, we do have Babu Owino in studio with us this morning. The Embakasi East Member of Parliament is in studio with us. Good morning and karibu sana.
Asante sana.
It's very interesting to see how the events panned out. I'm aware you're going to court this morning. Immediately when you were arrested on Friday, you claimed that the arrest was to do with something else and not the viral video that we've seen of what is alleged to have happened in Westlands, because now it's coming out that that's why you were arrested. Is that the case?
Actually, I would like Kenyans to know the truth. Let every Kenyan citizen have a look at that video clip and pinpoint where Babu Owino is. I'm not in that video clip. I wasn't even in Nairobi. I was in Mombasa by that time. That's not even my car. Even if you do a search of that car, that's not my car.
So why did they even arrest you?
This thing is politically instigated because of my petition in court. The petition that I have in court is very weak. One of the grounds that my opponent put across was that my election be nullified on grounds of violence, that there was violence on the election day, which they failed to prove. They produced another video clip in court that actually I was not involved and I was not there.
Yes.
But in relation to that, they wanted now to put me in cell, take me to court, so as to influence the mind of the judge,
so
to believe that Babu Owino is a violent person,
yes,
so that my election can be nullified on that ground. Two, the second ground was because of the seals that were used to seal the ballot boxes on the election day. Actually, what happened, very important information, that my opponent, together with Mr. Kamwende, the DCI, And this,
but Babu, the thing is, that's already before court of law, and we cannot really go.
Let me explain it.
It's okay. The issue to do with you're going to court this morning,
yes,
and we just need to understand what are you going to be charged with this morning.
Now that is what I don't know. I was not even told about my charge. When I was taken to the police station, I was just put direct into the cell.
So I was not told why you were arrested?
I don't know. I was not informed. I was put into the police station direct. I'm just being told that the allegations that I assaulted somebody, which they used a video clip to do this, to implement my arrest. So I don't know where this nation is being ruled by video clips that are just manufactured from everywhere.
But we know you've been arrested before. Last year you had a few run-ins with the police. Previously, even before you became a politician, while you're still a student leader, allegations of assault were leveled against you and your colleagues against another student. There seems to be a history here.
You know, there's something in law that I was taught in first year in law, that there's something called contemporaneous similar fact evidence. The fact that you murdered a person yesterday and today you murdered a different person using the same style that you murdered the first person, the facts of the first person's case cannot be used to determine the next case. Okay? Today you are here. From here you can go and commit any criminal offense.
I hope I don't.
No matter, even a misdemeanor is a criminal offense, and you've committed some. It doesn't mean that you are a criminal, because the law is clear that you are innocent until proven guilty. So the fact that something happened and have never been convicted in by a court of law, I'm innocent until proven
but even your colleague, the former MP for Embakasi, Irshad Sumra, in that news piece we just carried, he's even saying that now he'll have a sit down with you to actually ask you to tone down and behave more like an honorable member of parliament.
Let me tell you something.
What was he indicating?
Let me tell you something. That is his peace of mind. I cannot influence his thinking. Babu Owino is a person who was born as a revolutionist, a person who defends the rights of the oppressed, and I cannot keep quiet about that. Some people choose to keep quiet about it. I choose to speak about it. So when I speak my mind, I will speak my mind, irrespective of the arrest. Even if now I'm taken to committee, in committee I will speak my mind.
Okay.
So all these arrests cannot make me not to speak my mind.
So the feeling, even among that crop of politicians, that probably you're a bit aggressive in your style of politics, you disagree with that kind of thinking?
You know, every politician has their style of playing politics, and it also depends on how you are born. Some people are born to be soft-spoken, some people are born to be aggressive, some people are born differently. Personally, as Babu Owino, I'm born as a person who will always speak my mind, irrespective of what happens.
So that's your style and you're not about
that is me, and I don't regret about it, and I will never regret about it. Any person who has a problem with it, I owe nobody any apology for that.
Okay. Finally, the other very interesting fact is that the person who came to secure release was actually a Jubilee senator, Senator Johnson Sakaja, because many people are asking questions, including some members of Jubilee, and we'll be discussing that in a short while. How come it is Sakaja seeking the release of Babu Owino? We know that you do not work very well with your colleagues from the other side. How did this happen?
My friend, this is it's about politics. There's something called friendship also. When you play politics, we're in different political divines. There's Jubilee, there's NAS. Sakaja is a senator of Nairobi. I'm a member of Parliament Nairobi, and I'm a constituent of Nairobi County. So what is the problem if a senator comes to secure the release of his constituent? The second thing, Sakaja and I came way back from the university. He was my student leader. So as a result, he saw into it that once a comrade, always a comrade, and a comrade is always right.
Okay.
So he saw into it that let's go and secure the release of Babu Owino. There is no problem.
So it was down to the personal relationship you share with the
personal
with the
relationship that we share.
It had nothing to do with politics.
That's why he even condemned the police. You saw the way he talked about the police, and the police are being used. And I know, my friend, let me just speak about this. My friend Kamwende, my friend Kamwende is doing so many bad things in this nation as the DCI. There are so many allegations, from deportation of the foreigners who are married to Kenyans, taken direct to the airport for deportation without going through the court process, receiving bribes everywhere. And
now those are accusations that you cannot substantiate. I have evidence. Show at least.
I have evidence.
But at least we do not have time for you to substantiate.
But I have evidence, even in the car. If you need them, I can bring them here. You see.
Okay. Okay. Finally, when it comes to what Senator Sakaja did yesterday, he's actually come into some criticism from your colleague in Parliament, Moses Kuria, the member for Gatundu South. He is not very happy that the senator actually was the one to come and secure your release. What do you have to say to that? You know, Moses Kuria has never had a brain. Being a Why would you say that? He's a human being and a member of Parliament. No problem. Even animals are created with brains, but they don't think to some extent because they are not gifted with some of the way human beings are gifted. To me, Moses Kuria is not a person who reasons. He doesn't think beyond his nose. He's a person who plays politics. So you disagree with the sentiments with regard to the senator coming to because he's myopic. He's not seeing far. Okay. You see. So Babu Owino and Embakasi East MP, thank you so much for giving us your time this morning. I know you have to rush because you're going to court again. And of course, we'll be reporting what happens in court today. Hopefully, you will still be free at the end of the day. No problem. If they want to arrest me today, they can still do it. Thank you. I don't have a problem with that. And the arrest will not make me not to do whatever I want to do for the Kenyan citizens. Embakasi East MP Babu Owino, who spent 2 nights in custody this past weekend on allegations of assault. To other news now. NASA held its second People's Assembly Forum in Mombasa yesterday and resolved to push on with plans to swear in Raila Odinga as president. Meanwhile, at the same event, leaders from the coast declared that they would hold a cessation forum, claiming the region has been sidelined far too long. Stephen Leto reports.
The National Super Alliance second tour of the coastal town saw the NASA principals rally their supporters behind the swearing-in plans slated for 30th January.
Ataonesha mtema kuni. Hadi hiyo ni kifo. Hiyo ni fungu ya maisha. Namwambia bwana, naenda kuambia ndege huko angani. Watu wetu wengi wameuawa tayari na serikali. Kwa hiyo maisha mengine sio kitu. Mimi nasema Uhuru, if you don't call Raila in the next 1 week maximum, inji imeharibika. That's it. Kama ni noma, kama ni mbaya. Kwa hivyo Raila ako tayari kuapishwa, wapende wasipende. Tutaapishwa. Hata waseme nini, sisi tutaapishwa.
The leaders in the region reviving the thorny land question at the coast, unemployment as well as exploitation of minerals which they say have failed to turn around the fortunes of locals. The leaders are saying they will push ahead with their secession plans.
Mimi naambia hata hawa ambao wako Jubilee, when was the last time a CDF penny was sent to the CDF ili pesa ziweze kufika katika mashinani?
Mimi nitatoa basi ngapi? 10 kama mbunge wa Malindi. Kila mtu anataka kuelekea kuenda huko. Tayari mimi nitadonate. Basi ngapi? We want to ensure siku hiyo SGR, mabasi, malori, manini, every possible transport njia moja tu, Nairobi, Uhuru,
Park. 39 tayari mmeingia Nairobi, sawa? Mtalala kule Uhuru Park, sawa? Sawa? Na mimi ndalala na nyinyi kule Uhuru Park.
NASA leader Raila Odinga, while addressing his supporters at the Changamwe rally, said Jubilee is taking back the gains made through the 2010 constitution.
Tukizungumza sahihi, wameanza mpango ya kuona vile watagawanya tena boundaries za constituencies na kuongeza constituencies.
Baba abishwe ama abishwe. Ikiwa noma ni, ikiwa mbaya ni, tutaonana na wao mundu muko tayari.
With only 10 days to the controversial inauguration, NASA is building a momentum that will culminate in the swearing-in of the duo. From Mombasa, NASA heads to Narok, Migori and Kisii counties from Wednesday to wrap up the People's Assembly forums.
Let's take a look at how the papers covered that story on the front page of the Daily Nation. Yes, even as plans for the swearing-in continue. City Hall now locks NASA out of Uhuru Park. That's on the front page of the Daily Nation. A church and a group posing as a Nairobi business community have applied to use a City Uhuru Park on January 30th. The grounds where the National Super Alliance plans to swear in opposition leader Raila Odinga as the people's president. The story continues on page 6 of the Daily Nation. City Hall says we have received requests from the Nairobi business community and a church, and we expect the payment to be done on Monday. That's how the Nation has covered that story. On the Standard, the story is on page 7. Raila vows to push on with swearing-in plan. NASA leader says future elections will be in vain if the current electoral and political dispute is not resolved. To help us discuss this now, we're joined by political strategists Joseph Simera and Gabriel Muduma. Joseph Simera is a NASA strategist. Gabriel Muduma is a strategist for Jubilee Party. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Asante.
Very interesting developments here. Now there's a venue hitch for the swearing-in plan. Joseph Simera is a strategist for NASA. This, you must have seen this coming. By now, surely NASA should have secured the venue.
You should not waste your breath too much. Don't get too excited, because this is not even news. When you see this kind of thing, in Kenya, it's not news at all. It's not news to us at all. So it's not even going to make us lose even in a second of sleep.
Have you as a coalition secured the venue for
we
January
have
30th?
Secured venues. In fact, let me tell you that we have secured venues.
Also, you're not just counting on Uhuru Park. And there's a possibility you could have the swearing-in held elsewhere.
No, we will have the swearing-in at Uhuru Park. We will have the swearing-in at Uhuru Park. But like any other plan, serious plan, you always must have contingency. In case of anything, even up to and including natural interference, natural disasters. So it's not just this kind of drama. This kind of drama, by now we should all be used to it in this country. This happens all the time. Yes. It's not a surprise to us at all. And even so the swearing in, is well on course. We are not even going to be sidetracked by this kind of melodrama. Okay.
When Muduma, of course, you've dismissed NASA's plan all along. But why this push? Why do you think that anyone would be interested in interfering with that venue?
Nobody's interested in interfering. The way I'm reading this, and I agree with Semeka, they've been used to this. Kenyans have been used to this. I mean, we've been used to the swearing-ins that never happen. So why would anybody take NASA seriously? I mean, he's just told you. They are used to it. Okay. Why would they be taken serious this time round? Oh, we'll swear in this date. We'll swear in this date. Something will happen. It's December. It's January. It's October.
A point in time last year, you appeared as if you agree with the activities of the Nairobi business community to some extent.
I don't even know who Nairobi business community is.
They are part of the groups that are seeking to compete with NASA for this venue. Yes. Do you agree with that?
No, whoever these people are, there was a group that came out and said, we are part of the larger Nairobi business community. And they said, we will not allow our businesses. Every time there's, whatever this circus that you're calling people just running around the streets and business were being destroyed, and people said we wouldn't allow this. So I don't know whether that's where, the Nairobi business community mushroomed from. But Uhuru Park, we all know you can go and book, through the county, book the facility, and you're able to use it. So it's whoever first, who comes first?
But the fact that City Hall says that they have received requests from two different groups who are going to make payments for the venue today, it means the venue up until now has not been secured.
First of all, let me just request that, I always wish and want that when we appear on this show, we don't wake up early in the morning to come to a show like this to just play around. We need to have serious debate, serious discussion for the sake of your viewers.
And you don't feel that this is a serious discussion?
The reason I'm saying this, you just hold on, I haven't finished, is when Muduma rubbishes what I'm saying, And he says that I was referring to the swearing in, that's what I'm saying we are used to. You know, it's extremely unfortunate.
It's unfortunate.
The man thinks this, a man,
but we are used to these shenanigans. I mean, who takes them serious?
This is exactly
City Hall in itself does not even take them serious. They've not booked the grounds. They've not done that which is required.
Okay.
If they had done that which is required, and I'm liking it here, they would have paid for it. Have you paid for it? Have you paid for Uhuru Park?
I could boycott this show if you continue bringing me with this kind of people.
No.
I
have asked.
Fred, let's allow Joseph.
I have asked the fact. And have they paid? Have they paid?
I asked the same question.
Exactly. And that's the answer I never got.
Because you know, this plan has continued
I
for a while.
insist you don't ignore this. We should differ as much as possible in our views. But we must be serious. We must respect each other. We must have decorum. This kind of heckling is, I don't think, is for this kind of show.
Okay.
I mean, I know how to heckle, but I don't want to think that.
And I hope we will not get heckling.
Yes. That's what I'm stamping my authority on first, so that we can have a serious discussion. Yes. And I'm telling you that NASA is made up of very serious people, very serious Kenyans, as all of us know. And we have plans that are going ahead up to and including securing of a venue and having contingency plans like any other plan. We don't owe, you know, those who are not members of NASA to explain to them, you know, what these contingency plans are.
But such a headline on the front page should worry you, and if it doesn't worry you, it worries definitely some of the NASA supporters who've been waiting for this.
Now, this is what I was telling you that doesn't worry us, that, you know, by now we are used to this in this country, that you secure a venue, or you make plans to secure a venue for something very serious, and some group comes up and says, well, they also secured the same venue for a prayer or Nairobi business, whatever, and so on. That's what I was saying. By now, honestly, we are used to it. We have seen it so many times that we always have forces that want to frustrate, you know, Kenyans who are engaged in their lawful activities by doing this kind of things.
So NASA has secured.
So it doesn't surprise us at all. We have secured a venue for the swearing in.
This venue, Uhuru Park.
And Uhuru Park. And I've said, like any other plan, we have contingency plans. We're not even worrying about the so-called Nairobi business.
Okay.
There could be some other more legitimate reason why an activity like this may not happen at Uhuru Park. But as of now, that is not what is on our radar, because we are focused on the swearing in.
Okay.
Yeah.
You see, Fred,
yes.
Very quickly, and I'm reading from the same script that you're reading from. The county has said they've received 2 applications. One church group and the Nairobi business community. That's what they've received. Now, if you hear what Kalonzo, according to Kalonzo's narrative, they are saying if dialogue does not take place, so the swearing in is secondary. And again, this is actually as per what Kalonzo is saying, and we've had him in Mombasa saying the very same thing. We are giving the president this amount of time, within this time, to make his mind, to sit down and discuss, failure to which we will do what. So in other words, the swearing in, as they are calling it, is secondary.
Is it? Whatever he says, whether to him is secondary or primary, we know that is an activity that is going ahead. I'm sure that you heard over the weekend, particularly during the Lower Eastern People's Assembly Forum in Machakos. I'm sure that you heard the people's response to the leaders' call for dialogue. Some of the leaders have called for dialogue, but in no uncertain terms, an overwhelming majority of NASA supporters have been saying through these forums that that time is gone, because you dialogue with people who are serious.
But yet,
so that time to dialogue with people, usurpers who keep, every time that you extend a sign of goodwill, and this is why the supporters of NASA have got extremely impatient with the leaders of NASA, because the leaders were so magnanimous, they kept extending goodwill.
You say time is up for dialogue, yet Kalonzo Musyoka, a principal of NASA, yesterday said the president has 1 week to actually sit down with them.
I am afraid I'm just sharing with you, and you, as someone in the media, you ought to be following.
We are looking at the news as it is.
I'm just sharing with you the feelings of an overwhelming majority of NASA supporters who expressed this openly in public. Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, as a NASA principal, said exactly the same thing in Machakos, and he was given a response immediately, spontaneous, on the spot. So yes, there's what the leaders wish. There's the direction the leaders wish to herd the supporters of NASA. But some of the things the supporters of NASA are saying, we've waited too long.
So the leadership of NASA would prefer dialogue at this point?
You have asked me specifically about Kalonzo Musyoka,
yes.
Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka. I have heard him, I have also read in the news that he is saying that we have a few more days, that if you don't act within these days, then we will go ahead. But I'm telling you that something that is so public, it's not even a secret, that an overwhelming majority of the NASA supporters are saying, no, we do not have time for that. It's gone. We're well beyond that.
But Gabriel Muduma, if at all NASA go on with this plan, what does Jubilee stand to lose?
Well, Jubilee stands to lose nothing, absolutely nothing. First of all, why I usually call it dead on arrival is because of, this one thing. Article 3 of our Constitution talks about, respecting, upholding, and defending the Constitution. And the leaders that we have in NASA, that is Kalonzo Musyoka, Musalia Mudavadi Wetangula, and even Raila himself, they have been proponents of this Constitution. That's also they say. So there is no way, and I liked a very good lawyer, if you read her article yesterday, Kathy Kilonzo, she actually brought out and said, you cannot start an illegality to fit in a rightful constitution. How do you start with a wrong trying to make it right? So before they start, they already have an issue. And that's why you see even the question you're trying to ask, why you cannot get a straight answer, is because Kalonzo on one part is saying, we are giving Uhuru, time.
So you believe, as far as Jubilee is concerned, you believe that NASA is simply pushing on with this plan, swearing in, to push Jubilee to the table?
Exactly. And that is what is being captured, and that is what is coming out. So what does Jubilee stand to lose or gain? The fact is that Jubilee has already gone ahead. You've had
Jubilee no longer interested in any form of dialogue?
The president was very clear when it comes to dialogue, and this is what he said. I am ready to meet with any person, any leader, to discuss development. Dialogue should be only on development. Issues of electoral injustice, if they are there, and we know they are there, must be taken to the rightful place where that dialogue and that discussion will find a meaning and will actually be captured in history as having been taken to a house that is guaranteed through our Constitution where those debates should be discussed.
Bwana Simeha, if at all President Uhuru Kenyatta was to invite the leadership of NASA for any form of discussion this week, do you think the swearing-in plan will still continue?
First of all, separate those two things. One is not contingent on the other. One is not dependent on the other. And I think if you remember last week, the technical team issued a statement to that effect, that please, let's make this very clear. NASA has no interest in boardroom deals, discussions and deals with Jubilee. The dialogue that NASA has been talking about is an all-inclusive national dialogue on the crisis, on the political crisis we have in this country, that has been created by the electoral fraud that has been, imposed upon us by Jubilee. Well, not just Jubilee 2017, but also by other players in 2007, 2013, and now 2017. So it's not about Uhuru Kenyatta inviting a few NASA leaders into a boardroom or some room somewhere and then they agree on something. It's well beyond that. It's about having a national conversation, acknowledging these scenes, and having a national conversation on how we can ensure that we have in place a system, and not just a system, but also a personal commitment and culture for this thing never to be repeated, elections never to be stolen again.
Either way, the swearing-in will go on regardless.
Yes, so it's not dependent on the other. The swearing-in is absolutely going ahead. And on talking about legalities, two things, legalities and illegalities. One, it is not, something does not become illegitimate or illegal because Jubilee says that it is. Two, if you, and I'm sure you are familiar with the history of struggles in many other places, but let's just focus on Kenya. A lot of the things that those who pushed for the independence, that is first liberation, second liberation, a lot of the things they did were termed as unconstitutional, illegal, You know, and a lot of people suffered for that. A lot of people have been shot in the streets, and, as you know, in this capital, because they allegedly are engaging in something illegal.
Okay.
But you know, eventually that kind of force is never stopped. It comes to pass. Okay, people suffer for it, but it comes to pass that they were fighting for a rightful thing.
Okay.
For a right that, you know, would then benefit, including the ignorant who are calling it illegal.
Okay.
And finally, on development, you know, this thing sometimes gets to a point of irritating me. What is development? It is so unfortunate how people can have such narrow minds that they imagine development means projects.
Okay.
SGR, some building somewhere, some road somewhere. Basically just opportunities for plunder and rent seeking. Development begins with the person, human development. It begins with our minds. It begins with us agreeing as Kenyans, mobilizing Kenyans to move in one direction. That is development.
And let's hold it there. Time for a break now. We'll be back with more news. Remember, the hashtag to use up until 9 is Power Breakfast. You can also text us, tweet us. At Citizen TV Kenya is our Twitter handle. Mine is at Fred Indimuli, at Willis Roburu, at Joey_Muvengi. We'll have more news after this.